Welcome to the Elevate Africa journey.
Public speaking is an underutilized tool which has the power to open a lot of doors.
The ability to effectively and efficiently communicate with large to small crowds opens networking channels and boosts confidence in an individual. Whether you are a lawyer, teacher, accountant, or engineer, it is your communication skills that make you stand out and gain the trust of clients.
Furthermore, we need leaders that can solve global problems. Pour résoudre les problèmes à l'échelle mondiale, nous avons besoin de leaders capables de communiquer leurs solutions clairement et efficacement.
To empower the next generation of leaders to communicate their ideas effectively.
To equip young people with the confidence and the voice to stand up and make a change. Elevate Africa aims to create eloquent, confident, and marketable speakers. We seek to create a lasting and sustainable impact on teaching people how to use their voice.
Our motto is passing on the gift of public speaking, and we believe in teaching people to carry on this message to others as well. So, we look forward to the day where every young African strives to graduate from the Elevate Africa Academy.
Since our first year, we
Have trained over 60 individuals.
Won the Top Youth-Owned Education Brand Award by Pat on Brands.
And partnered with the Mrs. Universe Africa and Miss Continental SA pageants.
So join us on this journey.
A journey towards empowering future generations.
A journey of passing on the gift. Uhambo lwethu lokwabelana ngesisipho.
A journey of elevating Africa.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, apologies for my voice. This is going to get better. Hold on, let me choose deep or high. I was training the speakers. We're going to speak up there, and so I've lost my voice through the process. But it is amazing to have you all here for the UP Public Speaking Championships. Now, I want to apologize for us starting late. We were just waiting for our judges who got a little bit lost. Some of you got lost as well. Welcome to the University of Pretoria with many gates that you can access. So we're going to have the speakers coming up just now, but a little bit about who we are and what we do. We are Elevate Africa Academy, and we train public speaking all over the continent, as well as voiceover training. So your voiceover artists are the ones who, when you walk into Nedbank and it says, ticket number 1, please head to Tele4. Those voices, that's my voice, by the way. You can't hear it now because yeah, but it's there, I promise. When you go to Nedbank, you'll hear it, as well as Disney and Gautrain and many other platforms where you hear voiceover artists. We train public speaking because we believe that everyone, whether you are a lawyer, an accountant, an engineer, a teacher, you're going to have to speak. And as Africans, we need to know how to sell ourselves and how to speak eloquently and how to speak confidently. And so the UP Public Speaking Championships was launched last year for us to recognize public speaking at the University of Pretoria. I know that when I joined the university, I was looking for a public speaking society. I don't know if some of you were as well. Yes, we've got some in the front. And I couldn't find anything. And so I always believe if you can't find something, you start it yourself. And so we've started the public speaking competition at the University of Pretoria. Hopefully we're going to go to UJ, we're going to go to WITS, we'll have a provincials, we'll have a national, and lastly we will have an African Universities Championships. That is the end goal, and we hope to get there with you on board as well. So that's a little bit about who we are. Thank you to our esteemed judges. Thank you. Oh, when did you come in? Thank you to all of our judges that are present, as well as all of our partners that are here. Just going to quickly mention the judges for you. If we can put them up, I'll go through the order that you've got up there. So we've got Emmanuel. Can we get a round of applause for Emmanuel? So for those who don't know, Emmanuel is your favorite director. Right, he's directed some incredible shows like the La Caesar show, like the what's her name? TH. Tando Tabete, imagine the Tabuti show, as well as many other shows that you see on TV. He's incredible with what he does, and he has an eye for talent. And so he's going to look for talent today. Next up we've got Mr. Tulisa Ndlela, who is coming from the National Youth Development Agency, and it's great to have the NYDA here because this is a competition not just to get certificates. We want these speakers to be able to go out into the world and to use their talents. We want them to speak for NYDA conferences. We want them to speak for municipal conferences. We want their voices to be out there. Instead of always looking for influencers, we want MTN to come and say we want the best public speaker and we want them to represent our brand. And so that's why we have you here. Thank you so much for being here as well. A round of applause for him. Then we have the gorgeous Polele Polisa, right? She's absolutely stunning. I'm a fan. And she is a multi-award-winning radio host, currently working for 947, a TV host. You've seen her, you've heard her. She is our judge, and she also has an eye for talent, and she speaks every day, if I'm not mistaken. So she knows what speaking is all about, and she's going to be able to find our talented speakers. Last but certainly not least, we have Oninye, who was the first ever winner of the UP Public Speaking Championships. Round of applause. And so this time last year, you were sitting outside reciting your lines, like all the other speakers are doing right now. We're going to get right into it, judges, and I'm going to need your help to pick the order of speakers, right? So you are going to pick a random number from 1 to 6. 5. Can we, who's running out? Can we get, they know themselves, speaker 5, ready? And we are going to, if I'm not mistaken, that should be either Yurish or Petolo. One of them. It's Petolo. All right, so that's going to be Petolo, and he's going to come up just to tell you how the judging is going to work. So the judges have guidelines, and they're going to be judging on body language, voice projection. So the speakers should be able to speak without the microphones. Okay. So they're not going to use these. So hopefully, no, not hopefully, you will hear them at the back, okay? So voice projection, how they engage with the audience, but most importantly, they all had to identify a problem and provide a solution. So judges, as you judge, I want you to listen to the problems that they've identified, the solutions that they've posed forward. There needs to be some research in there as well. It's not an impromptu speech, so they're not going to make it up on the spot. It should have statistics, it should have facts, it should be something that can be presented in front of the government today. Are we ready?
Yes.
Hi guys, I'm Fitolo Pilani and I'm studying data science and statistics. One thing I can say is that I'm very excited to be here. I can't wait for Saturday. The journey has been tough, it's been rough, it's been eye-opening. It has shown me that I actually don't know as much as I thought I did. But now that leaves room for improvement, so I'm excited. As for what I'm looking forward to the most on Saturday, first and foremost, I'm looking for a Petolo who can actually speak. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but there's a lot going on right now. But hopefully on the day I'll be able to deliver and, you know, create a show for everyone. And another thing I'm looking forward to is just hearing everyone's speeches, seeing the huge hall and the energy of it all, man. I'm excited.
Ten-story houses cost so expensive you and your family have to save up a lifetime to afford. Abs so tight they could cut diamonds and bodies so hourglass their curves have curves on them. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Or am I? Ladies and gentlemen, all respected pronouns in the room, that's the state of today's current social media, and it's high expectations. But unfortunately, these are the standards we live by and the standards we strive for. Now, I want to beg a question to everyone. What is the purpose of social media? Oxford, Harvard, individual word of mouth, all of them say the purpose is to communicate, share skills, and most importantly, create connections. That's the word, connections. Now, all of us have connections that we've started on social media, but what kind of connections are these? Some can be romantic, some can be academic. I know I've got catfished a few times, but that's a story for another day. However, if connection is such a big thing, then why does something that brings so much positivity also cause so much division? Now, I'm going to speak about a few things. First, I'm going to speak about the authenticity reigning supreme, the detriment that current social media standards have on our current youth, and all the other nitty-gritties that will fall in the topic. But, fortunately, I'm not just here to depress you guys. I will give good real-life examples, some statistics, and things to back up my talk. Now, to go into the first thing. What is the bad thing with the current social media standards? Let's look at the setting it's creating. There's so many unrealistic high expectations that everybody has to live up to. When you feel that you can't achieve these things, you start to realize that, hey, you're not good enough. On social media, there's so much content that is carefully curated to make you feel like, hey, maybe I can't live like the person that I see online. What does this cause? I promise you, out of the 20 pictures that you see, you're probably only going to post the best thing. But that's not the secret that's revealed on social media. And with such high expectations, it's no wonder our current self-esteem and mental health of the youth is so low. And then you ask yourself, why is it so low? Researchers at the Disease Institution at the UK realized that mental health, especially suicide rates from 2000 to 2007, were stable. But from 2007 to 2017, they increased by 57%. 57%. If that doesn't scare you, then I don't know what will. To go further into this rabbit hole is cyberbullying. So many people see themselves on social media, realize that, okay, maybe I can't compete with the neighbor. And trust me, when you're on social media, there is somebody who's going to tell you you're not good enough. With so many images there showing such a perfect life, you start to realize it's almost like somebody patting you on the back and saying, hey, friend, here are 10 more reasons why you are not good enough. Okay, so the atmosphere in the room has changed. Let me liven things up a bit. Let's start playing a game, right? I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you to count the number of brown things in the room. Keep the number in your head. One thing Elevate Africa didn't tell you is that I'm a psychic, so I'll know if you cheated. Don't tell anyone. Just store this number in your head. So now, current social media is bringing down a lot. Facebook started in 2004 and had 650 active users when it first started. Now it has 2 billion active users. Alongside this growth is the growth in mental health issues. The institution at the UK, titled the Royal Academy, made a research finding that Instagram is the most used platform for the youth. And yet, it's also the leading cause of depression. But what are the solutions? Well, the first one is actually teaching social media literacy. If we can teach our youth and we can teach our people how to critically analyze the things that they see on social media, maybe, just maybe, there will actually be a chance. Because then you can see the authenticity of things and you can critique it. This opens your mind and you realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe there's more than the eye can see. Further than that, it's actually encouraging authenticity itself. If we can allow ourselves to just post our lives, blemishes and all, it creates a culture where everyone feels accepted. Because everyone realizes that, hey, I'm not the only one suffering. My neighbor is too. And maybe there's a beauty in that. Maybe there's a beauty in actually realizing that, hey, it's not all glitz and glamour. There are people like me, and there are ways for me to achieve. This is a realistic way of looking at things. This is a realistic way of setting things, and to make things even better, if everything's realistic, everyone has a chance to shine. I want you guys to think about the actual view of a realistic society. Is it boring? Is it exciting? Does it liven you up, or should natural selection just take care of the rest? At the end of the day, it's what you decide. So, earlier, I asked you guys to count the number of things you see in the room. Everyone remember the color, right? So now, I'm going to pick at somebody, and you tell me, how many black things did you count? Ma'am, how many black things did you count?
He wants to count brown.
Okay. I know a lot of you are thinking, hey, this guy swindled me. This guy finessed me. He didn't say black, but that's the point. Yes, I did say count the number of brown things, but does that mean the black things didn't exist? The black things were there, you just didn't count them. And that's the trick. The solutions and the lifestyle you want is there. You just have to look at it, and you have to focus on it. And at the end of the day, that's the point. I could give you examples such as the Liver King, Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson got famous on Instagram and Facebook for gaining his wonderful physique. And he said he got the physique from eating raw meat. Raw meat such as raw livers and raw goat testicles. That's his diet, I'm not here to judge. But what he didn't tell anyone is that when he's done eating, he vomits everything out and goes back to his diet of steroids and home-cooked meals. On a more local platform, we have Kanya Subi, as many of the youth will know him as Almighty Ghost Subi. And he's known for his lavish lifestyle, his lavish house and everything. Lavish lifestyle that we find out he can't afford. It isn't his. It begs the question, is this an ego thing? Why do people feel so driven to keep up with a lifestyle that isn't theirs? It's harder to keep up than it is to live. And I want you all to think about that. Now, to just wrap everything up, I can give you as many solutions, I can name as many problems. At the end of the day, how you focus on things and how you choose to keep your mind on things is what the determining factor will be. Instead of, faking it until we make it, how about we just focus on the making it part? A realistic world, a realistic social media promotes a media where we can all shine. We all have an opportunity to express ourselves. And it's a world I want to live in. That being said, I'm sure you want to live in it too.
Thank you so much for that, Petolo, for kicking us off on a great start. Oh, these lights are very distracting. That's something to take into consideration as well. Whilst we wait for the next speaker, I'm sure you see a young lady over here putting up different colors. So that's to keep the speakers in time. So the green is when they've spoken for 6 minutes, the orange is when they've spoken for 7 minutes, and the red is when they've spoken for 7:30. Now, if they go to 8 minutes, we start clapping them off, right? Because that's the final time. You cannot say anything after 8 minutes. So if you hear people clapping and you think, why are you interrupting him halfway? We have to. His time is up.
Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Des Kamukapa and I am an honors student at the University of Pretoria. This whole experience has been amazing for me. I know in many ways it has taught me a lot about myself, and yeah, it's been a very interesting journey that we've all been on. I know we've had to learn a lot of stuff about public speaking as we've gone on, and whether it's been the drills, the vocal drills, the warm-ups and everything that we've done, it's been an amazing journey, and just learning from so many experienced speakers and all the talent that you're gonna see on Saturday. It's just amazing, and I hope to see you, and I hope the final goes well. My expectations for the final, I think that's gonna go well, and I hope to do as well as I can, but at the end of the day, the main thing is to learn. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, and we are going to address it right now. But before we do that, it would only be right if I introduce my special guest. This is Tomorrow, my best friend. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, he is my imaginary friend. And before you pull out your phone and call the cops, I want you to bear with me for a second. My name is Des Kamukapa, and I am a dreamer. And as a dreamer, I want to invite you into this dream world as we explore the world of unknown possibilities. And I want you to imagine a world where the future knows no bounds, a world that you shape. You see, imagination is the foundation of dreams. And as children, we were dreamers. They told us the world is yours. You can do anything, you can be anything. But my question is, when did we stop dreaming? The problem is the fear of success. You're probably used to hearing about the fear of failure, but the fear of success is a puzzling but very real phenomenon. As counterintuitive as it may seem, it is the unconscious fear of succeeding in society and accomplishing our goals. This fear is nothing new. In fact, it was first researched in the early 1970s by a psychologist named Martina Horner, as she sought to see the prevalence of this fear amongst women. However, since then, the application of this fear has become universal. Please note, fear in its essence is not a bad thing. It is the very reason that you walk in the opposite direction when you see that beware of dog sign. And in a similar fashion, the fear of success is not a bad thing, but it can become one when it begins to limit us. To further discuss this, I want to break this down into 3 distinct parts: the insidious effects of imposter syndrome, the fear of change, and the psychological warfare that it presents. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. This is basically the feeling of constantly being afraid of being deemed undeserving of success, or in other words, being exposed as a fraud. Now, I want to focus on how this can affect women in the workforce, African women in specific. So a study by KPMG found that 75% of female executives in America experience imposter syndrome at some point in their career. Additionally, over half of the women feared being unable to live up to expectations and being seen as incapable. And that poses the question, if this fear is so prevalent in a nation that offers the American dream, then how many young African women hold themselves back because of the pressure attached to being a trailblazer in male-dominated fields. While you ponder that, I'm going to talk about the fear of change. Forbes highlights that as humans, we tend to hold onto our routines and avoid the unknown, and that this fear of change is a significant contributor to the fear of success. As a continent, advancing means taking brave steps forward that allow ourselves to get out of our comfort zone and embrace the unknown. But oftentimes, our leaders do not want to embrace this change and discomfort, so they inhibit progress and development. There is another reason as to why we're significantly behind our counterparts in terms of continents. If we truly do have the greatest minerals, if we have all the gold and all the diamonds, then what is truly holding us back? Is it our own fear of success, or is it the world's fear of our success? I suppose that the world fears the untapped potential that we possess. Their greatest fear is not that we're inadequate, their greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Now, the psychological battle to me is probably the biggest one. A study conducted on 625 individuals to find the connection between life satisfaction and the fear of success found that increasing self-confidence radically decreased this fear. To make this more relatable, I'm going to tell a personal story. So years ago, when I was in my final year of high school, I was elected team captain of athletics. And despite my talent, I struggled with this fear. I often wondered, and I was plagued with the fear of letting my teammates down and the very thought of standing in the spotlight exposed. As I would race, my heart would pound unlike ever before. I was no longer the underdog. And you have to understand that this is not the fear of failure. You may be thinking it's the same thing, but no. Because in my earlier days, I never feared losing. Because in my mind, if I lost, nobody cared. But if I won, everybody cared. I didn't know if I could handle the increased attention, the inevitable scrutiny, and the pressure that came with success. And this internal struggle led me down the path of self-sabotage. To combat this fear, we need to do it head on. We need to eliminate imposter syndrome. We need to adopt a growth mindset that celebrates personal development and continual learning, thus embracing that success is a journey and not a destination. As our leaders adopt this mindset, we alleviate the pressures of achieving perfection, and our continent's success can become a beacon of hope and a testament to the human potential to overcome adversity. And as we develop mental fortitude, we allow ourselves to have a community of individuals and mentors that allow ourselves to make mistakes and get up. And 72% of the female executives that I mentioned earlier sought a mentor when their self-belief diminished. And I think there's power to that. Because with that same mentality, I stepped back onto the track and allowed myself to dream. Imagine how powerful our continent could be if we allowed ourselves to dream. Look no further than the American Civil Rights Movement. A brave time when souls stood side by side demanding an end to discrimination. In the face of oppression, they marched. In the face of discrimination, they spoke. And in the face of abuse, they fought. The very words of the great Martin Luther King Jr. were, "I have a dream." A dream. What's our dream? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to stand. It's time to elevate. It's time to imagine tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Des Kamkapa. There's a lot more to go, so I promise you each speaker will shock you throughout the way. I'm using this time to speak just because I know that the judges need to do their calculations and etc., etc. So our top 6 speakers went through a month of training. So we want to thank you to the parents for allowing them every Saturday to come to campus for training. And we had very in-depth training with them, body language training, voice projection training, and we gave them a full Elevate Africa course. And so if you're seeing them and you're thinking, my son's never spoken like that, it's thanks to Elevate Africa. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexa Kruger and I'm in my second year LLB. I'm feeling right now, not hundreds, I'm losing my voice, which is a bit of a worry considering we're speaking on Saturday. But we're just going to hope that Tea and Honey is going to fix the problem. I'm really, just honored to be here, and this journey has really just been so phenomenal. It's gone beyond my wildest expectations. To be honest, when I signed up, I thought I was just doing like a normal public speaking, with the cue cards and everything. So, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but sure, it's just been like an amazing experience. I'm just, so grateful to be here. In terms of Saturday, I'm a bit nervous, like it's a big audience and, everyone's put so much work into getting us here, don't want to disappoint, but I'm really so excited to see everyone else speak and, we've been together since round 1, here we are, a couple months later, we've grown as friends, we've grown as people and definitely as speakers, so I'm just really excited to be here and to see everyone again.
To imagine should not be rooted in plain and straightforward hope, not born of fear or characterized as just a pleasant dream. To imagine is an act of bravery. Esteemed audience and respected colleagues, I stand before you today, inviting you to immerse yourselves even deeper in the realm of imagination. Picture a courtroom, a setting as familiar as the ones that we see on TV shows like Law and Order, complete with those handsome lawyers, dramatic to-die moments, and judges who exude wisdom and authority. Standing before us today is a rather unconventional criminal, one conspicuously absent from the orange jumpsuits usually worn by the accused. Standing before us today is not an individual, but a societal woe, something that should be unimaginable. On trial today is the high infant mortality rate in South Africa. Today we confront the thousands of infant lives lost in our nation. The charges against our society are weighty. Firstly, the accused are charged with willful ignorance and looking the other way. They have ignored every opportunity to act, react, acknowledge, protest, march on the street, shout at the gates of Parliament, and raise a collective voice in defense of the genuine but unimaginable number of lives lost. Secondly, crimes against humanity. Our inability to address this issue starkly infringes on the most fundamental human right, the right to life. Let's step out of the courtroom for a moment. South Africa's high infant mortality rate is supported by stark and disheartening statistics. 22.5 deaths for every 1,000 live births, significantly higher than the global average. South Africa's high infant mortality rate is an issue that we need to address with immediate effect. And I'm going to take you to dangerous territory for a moment here. Me and maths. There's a reason I'm not studying engineering, but just bear with me for a moment. On average, South Africa has 3,500 daily births. 22.5 deaths for every 1,000 live births translates to approximately 78 daily deaths. That's more than double. I'll say that again, double the number of road accident fatalities. That's 78 potential doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers, visionaries, revolutionaries, whose lives are all lost. Let's look at the crux of the issue at hand. South Africa is faced with alarming healthcare spending disparities. In the 2020-2021 fiscal year, the South African government spent nearly 50% of its healthcare budget on just 16% of the population living in rural areas. The Rural Health Advocacy Project underscores this issue by stating that you are more than 30% more likely to die in a rural setting. This is due to inadequate infrastructure and not enough access to healthcare professionals. So what do we do? Investment in healthcare infrastructure is essential. Building and maintaining rural hospitals is pivotal in addressing this issue, with a particular focus on maternal healthcare and preventative measures. Estimating the cost, a small rural hospital can cost between 60 and 100 million rand. At present, the South African government spends only about 8.1% of its GDP on healthcare, significantly lower than most developed and developing nations. If we were to invest a greater amount of the GDP into healthcare infrastructure, we would be able to save many more infant lives. To address this issue comprehensively, I'd like to share a story. A baby girl named Gabriella was born in a small rural village in South Africa. Her parents were overjoyed with dreams and hopes for their young child. One day, when Gabriella was just a few months old, her parents sensed that something was wrong. Her eyes that once sparkled bright seemed dimmer, and she was warm. Driven by desperation, her parents rushed her to the nearest hospital, but it soon became clear that the hospital did not have what was needed to care for infants like Gabriella. Gabriella lost her brave fight for life. She died at 3:15 in the arms of her loving parents, her tiny heart ceasing its courageous battle. Gabriella's story is the poignant embodiment of the issues faced in rural areas in South Africa. It tells us why we need to deploy more healthcare professionals. It tells us why we need to improve infrastructure and why we need to do better in terms of resource allocation. But above all, Gabriella's story is a brave reminder of why we need to fix this, of who we are doing it for. Studies say that a 6-second pause can leave an audience feeling uncomfortable. Well, we have been silent for far too many 6-second bites. We've come full circle back into the courtroom. The accused know their fate. Guilty. Guilty as charged on every count. We should be brave enough to be able to imagine a future where infant lives are not lost due to inadequate healthcare infrastructure. In addressing this issue, I would like to turn to the wisdom of my Greek ancestors. A Socratic and Platonic line of thought. Τα μεγαλύτερα προβλήματα είναι αυτά που επιλέξουμε να την διορθώσουμε. The biggest problems are the ones we choose not to fix. In response, let us affirm. Όλα τα προβλήματα έχουν λύση, εάν επιλέξουμε να την βρούμε. I invite you to repeat with me. Όλα τα προβλήματα έχουν λύση, εάν επιλέξουμε να την βρούμε. All our problems have a solution, if only we choose to find it. Court dismissed.
Well done to Alexa. Wonderful. I love how after every speech, the noise afterwards gets louder and louder as you get more and more comfortable. So we're going to take a very, very quick break just so that you can refresh your brains, because I know sitting down and listening to 8-minute speeches can become a little bit long. Now, just before you go, you probably have noticed that all of the speakers are using the word imagine in their speeches. So with every competition, there's an overarching theme that we give them. And the theme for this year was imagine. And so they had to imagine anything. Imagine whatever it is that they felt they wanted to talk about, that's what they did. so we are about to have the final three of the six. Not the final three as in the top three. But we're going to have the final three, starting off with Kaho Metsi. So let's watch her video.
Hello, my name is Kaho Metsi and I am doing my drama degree at the University of Pretoria on my second year. And I'm feeling excited, a bit nervous, yes, but it's good nerves, you know them. And what I've learned with the past few weeks with the trainings offered by Elevate Africa is that you can do it. It's literally all in your head. Do it scared either way, you know. And what I'm looking forward, my expectations for this weekend is to really enjoy myself on stage while I tell the story of ordinary South Africans and to really see the growth that has transpired with the competition.
There is a new outbreak similar to COVID-19, and it is one of the deadliest viruses we know. Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, and the non-binary. I'm Dr. Kaho, and I urge everyone not to panic as I'll be unpacking this medical case to all of you. Now, living in a country like South Africa, you have probably heard of it before and experienced it. This virus is dangerous and considered to be one of the deadliest viruses that are likely to drive South Africa into experiencing a second pandemic. Its name is corruption. Before I dive deeply into it, allow me to remind everyone sitting in this room today that it took just 3 individuals traveling into South Africa for hundreds of thousands to be affected by coronavirus. In the same way, it takes a few to participate in corruption for thousands of jobs to be affected, including everyone sitting in this room today to be affected by things such as load shedding. Today, we have students who depend on NSFAS, have not received their allowances, continue to starve and be evicted from their residential places, while being expected to write exams, all because of corrupt acts by those who are wrongfully awarded government tenders. Not to mention the number of businesses that had to close down, resulting in job losses. Because of corruption, there are poor service delivery, projects never getting off the ground, projects that were meant to not only better the lives of South Africans, but also create job creation. Today, the guy who used to have a job now doesn't, solely based on the actions of those he had never met before. It really takes a few to participate, but has an impact on many. Corruption affects us all. Unlike other diseases that tend to cause high fever, this one causes a threat to sustainable economic development, ethical value, and justices. When it comes to corruption, it is always confusing as to who the responsibility lies on. Is it the government's responsibility to hold us accountable? Or is it our own responsibility to hold each other accountable? Now, for further diagnosis of this virus, it has symptoms such as increased unemployment rate, gender-based violence, and poverty. Now, those are just common symptoms that stem from this disease. However, according to medical research, there are many more symptoms to be detected. As mentioned, the virus is spread from corruption, but those who suspect themselves to have this virus and do not act upon curing themselves or those around them are likely to spread it, as it is contagious. Now, there is currently vaccines and possible treatment and cure in the hospital sector provided by the government. The current outbreak of this virus is in South Africa, with all 9 provinces experiencing an exponential increasing number of cases. Now, for further diagnosis, allow me to bring this to your awareness. The first symptom being increased unemployment rate. The most common way in which unemployment rate is related to corruption is when businesses gain an unfair advantage through bribery or other corrupt acts. This creates an uneven playing field for small businesses to compete in the market, which eventually leads to job losses. Now, when we speak of corruption, when government officials take bribes, they are essentially stealing money that could have been used towards job creation, which is a huge crisis. However, please don't panic, because I can assure you that there is a way to treat this symptom. Start off by boiling your water. Add these 3 habs: the habs of honesty, the habs of transparency, and the habs of accountability to help stop dishonest practices. Now, when you brew these habs into your tea, It will help you speak up as the dryness in your throat will be gone. Speaking up and exposing these corrupt acts will help keep the public sector open and honest, which is what we need. Now, with this remedy most likely to work, there is another way you can try to escape this symptom of unemployment. Make sure that you're qualified, get access to skills of education to help yourself get a job, if not start your own business. Now, with this following symptom, poverty, we have realized it's because of being dependent on the government for housing, healthcare, welfare and security, education, which makes the poor most vulnerable to corruption, since corruption stalls service delivery. In this case, I plead to the public to take this tablet named Educational Programs by the government to help lessen poverty. In the same way, I would need the government then to react and provide vaccines to help in the long run. Vaccines such as economic development, creating jobs, providing water, sanitation, creating spaces where people can learn for free. And obviously, with this one, sadly, that I'm about to mention, which is gender-based violence, it's an ongoing symptom that keeps getting detected a lot at an alarming rate. This kind of self-isolation for women who are in violent relationships means being stuck with their perpetrator, who may become more abusive when there is no other outlet. Now, what happens when virus called corruption gets in the mix? Firstly, when a woman tries to report a gender-based violence case, it may be insinuated that, while there isn't enough evidence or that it's their fault, all by a corrupt police officer who refuses to do their job. Now, another case will be that women are asked to perform sexual favors in exchange for something instead of monetary bribe. In this case, ladies and gentlemen, the non-binary, I would not suggest taking any home remedies, but rather, please go to a professional immediately when you suspect you have this virus and the symptom, because they will provide you with accessible information and measures about how to go about it, and also give you existing remedies that are in government to help you out. Now, we all learned that with the pandemic, COVID-19, it is because that most people were vaccinated, the less the virus spread. In the same way with corruption, the more people that are awake, the less virus spreads. Now, I want to make a practical example. Take these two individuals seated in front. If they were to decide to start being corrupt, we would have stopped them. And then corruption ends there. However, if we do not hold each other accountable, then corruption will spread all over this room. But if they were to collide, they would need a buy-in. So the people there next to them could possibly join, and they would now need more buy-ins, which creates a whole cycle, and now the virus spreads all over the room. However, ladies and gentlemen, the non-binary, if right at the beginning somebody spoke out and stopped them, then corruption ends there, and it does not need to further on spread all over this room. Now, I say this with most power that if we are not resistant to the virus, then it will continue to spread. But if more people are aware of it and stop it, then we won't get infected. I, personally, long for the day where we will no longer need to take vaccines as preventative measures, but rather as treatment in such a way that we would end corruption forever and all the other symptoms that come with it. I believe it all starts with you. You are the antidote you've been looking for. The generation before us have done all they could. And now it is up to us as the young people to be that antidote that will completely destroy this virus and ensure that it does not have any power to weaken the future of the young ones, but rather to come together to elevate Africa. Imagine that. Oh, just a quick tip from your favorite doctor. Please wear your mask. Corruption is spreading fast in this room and you don't want to catch it.
Thank you so much for that, Pastor. Let's see. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We have got 2 more to go, and I can see that the judges are saying it's getting close. It's getting really tough, and we're not even done yet. Our next speaker is going to be Yurish Naidu. So let's turn our eyes to the screen and watch the video that welcomes Yurish on stage.
Hello everyone, my name is Yurish Naidu and I am a second year BCom Business Management student here at the University of Pretoria. Now, if you were to ask me how I'm feeling about this competition, I'm feeling very confident. I think it'll go very well and I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, if you ask me what the process has been like, well, that is something entirely different. I've never experienced anything like this before. I've never been in a public speaking competition like this one before, where we've spent weeks and weeks refining our speech, making sure that it's better and better as we go along. I've never done it before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the end product looks like. And if you ask me what I'm looking forward to the most, I'll have to say it's speaking on the stage. That final round, I'm really looking forward to that, to show you what has been happening behind the scenes and for you to judge it for yourself. I think it'll be very good. I'm very confident, very positive, and we will see what happens. I think it'll be good, and I'm sure you'll think so as well.
Hello everyone, as you've seen in the video, I'm Yuresh, and I'm here to speak to you today about something that is so important, something that each and every single one of us has to live with. None of us can choose if we have it or not, but if we don't use it right, it has the ability to destroy your life. But if you do use it right, it has the ability to take you to heights you never knew you could achieve. What am I talking about? I'm talking about your mind. More importantly, the power of using it correctly. Now, I want to talk to you today about a quote that I heard. I heard a wonderful quote before, and it's stuck with me ever since I heard it. You don't hear a lot of these quotes that you remember until the day you die, but this is one of them. And it was by Henry Ford. Now, for those who don't know who Henry Ford is, he was one of the wealthiest people of his time, the founder of the Ford Motor Company. Many of you may have come here in one of his cars today, and we love Ford cars, except the one that kept exploding. But we love all the other ones, right? They were great. And so Henry Ford said this: whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, either way, you're right. So what does that mean for us, and how do we apply that in our daily lives? Well, I think we need to look at it, first of all, in terms of three problems that we have in society, three huge issues that I want to talk to you about today. The first one is this: why do negative people not achieve their goals, but positive people do? What is it that makes positive Peter, who wakes up in the morning with a spring in his step and he greets the day with a smile, as opposed to negative Nigel, who's always down on himself and pessimistic? What is it that makes these people so vastly different, and why does Peter achieve while Nigel fails? The answer is this. First of all, Peter believes that he can. Plain and simple. Nigel does not. And when you don't believe that you can do something, you won't even start. Why would you try to drive a car with no engine? You know it's not going to move. So Nigel doesn't think that anything will happen. He's not even going to start trying. And if you don't do step one, how can you reach step two? Now, Nigel also is a very negative person. We don't like that negativity, but he loves it. He seems to revel in it. Nigel is somebody who's always pessimistic, and so that's what he attracts for his life. You see, if you're a positive person, great men and women throughout the ages, they've all agreed this. You are what you think about. They've disagreed on almost everything else. But what they've agreed on is this: your thoughts make you. And that's very important, because Peter's thoughts are positive. That's what he attracts. Nigel is negative. That's what he attracts. And you know what? You can't win with a negative attitude. Now, the next problem we have in society is with our youth. We always say the youth are the future. They're going to lead us. But how can we expect them to lead us if we don't nurture them and tell them that they can do it? You see, how many times have you heard a child say, I want to be a pilot, I want to be an astronaut, maybe a ballerina. I heard a child say he wants to be a plane once, which is very interesting. But, not a pilot, a plane. But anyway, if we tell them, no, you can't achieve it, just be a bit more realistic, lower your expectations. No one else has done it. You can't really do that. What are we going to do to them? What are we going to do to them mentally? They're going to go throughout their lives thinking, I can't achieve this. I can't be who I want to be. And I can't achieve what I want to achieve. And that's the adults they're going to become. And they're going to tell that to their children. And so we must nurture their imagination. We must tell them you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. And that's not a lie. It's the truth. We are lying to them when we say you can't achieve. That's the lie. So what do you want to do? Do you want to lie to them, or do you want to tell them the truth? I think we want to tell them the truth. Now, the third problem that we have, a huge problem, is a very personal one. It's interior to you. Your soul. It's not a societal problem per se. It's something within you. And that is this: We have all been created and designed with a specific purpose in mind. Now, some of us achieve that purpose, but while others don't, like I said, it's a great travesty. But there is something that binds us together. Every human has to be positive. Have you ever noticed that the people who are negative are the ones who seem to always get sick? They seem to always be down. They seem to have more things be negative about their life. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because you're going against the grain of your design. If you've been designed one way and you go the other way, you're invariably going to have problems. So that's why you find the top psychologists have said that if you're a negative person, you bring upon yourself negative circumstances in your health. Have you ever seen mental health problems occur from negative thinking? Well, it's true. That's where it comes from. A lot of negative thinking can produce a lot of problems in your mind. Now, don't even get me started on physical health, because you can bring illness upon yourself with bad thoughts. You really can. Because you stress yourself out, and that produces the illness, and sometimes, God forbid, it causes death. Now, another issue that it brings about is spiritual sickness. Have you ever noticed that negative people have lost their zest for life? They cannot get up in the morning. They struggle because they are not doing what they're meant to do. They're not being who they're meant to be as humans. They're going against their creation. And so we must ask ourselves, what is the solution to all of this? It seems so difficult. How can we possibly overcome this? Well, I'm here to tell you, there's one thing that we need to do. We need to be positive, and we need to use our minds for what it was meant for. Because if you use a machine against its design, it will backfire on you, and you will reap what you sow. So if you sow good seeds, you will reap good plants, and the same for negativity. I want you to think about another quote that we heard a long time ago. I heard it, and it stuck with me as well. Steve Jobs. Who knows Steve Jobs? Raise your hand if you know Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. Many of you have his phones in your pockets today. Steve Jobs said this: the people who are crazy enough to believe that they can change the world are the ones that do. You think about it and it makes sense. How would you do it if you don't believe you can start? And Steve Jobs certainly changed the world. Do you know that Apple is perhaps one of the most valued companies on earth? And it started in Steve's mother's garage. You think about that. And now their headquarters are bigger than Google's. So we want to talk about small beginnings, humble beginnings. You talk about that. But he had the right mindset, and that's how he achieved. And if you don't have the right mindset, you'll stay in your mother's garage, unfortunately. And you don't want to stay there. I'll tell you, you don't want to stay there. The cars make a lot of noise, and it's not nice. So I want you to imagine right now, what is your goal? Think about your goal. You may have many, you may have a few, but think about your goal. Right now, stop and visualize it. And ask yourself, do I believe I can achieve this? If you don't, that's a problem. And you won't achieve it if you don't believe that you can. So start achieving right now. And you can do that by believing that it's possible. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it is possible. And if you believe it, you can achieve it. And I want to leave you with this final saying: anything and everything is possible to one who believes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Schneider. Judges, do you need deliberation time? No, you're good. Wonderful. So we're going to have our final speaker. And just to tell you how that's going to work. So we're going to have our final speaker. And then judges, we're going to invite you to go outside so that you can do your final chit-chats and sharing of notes, and you're going to tell us who the winners are after then. But whilst the judges are deliberating, we're going to play a fun game with the audience. We're going to get you involved as well and get you to do some speaking, because you came to watch. We're going to make you talk as well. So let's look forward to that. I'm just saying it so you can start feeling nervous right now, because that's how they feel. All right, our final speaker is none other than Baba Lompake. So let's watch this video and welcome him on stage.
My name is Baba Lompake, and I am a second-year BCom General student. I am an entrepreneur and an aspiring keynote speaker. I am feeling, to be quite honest, I'm a bit nervous. Can't explain it, but I'm feeling very nervous, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this event is going to play out. The experience that I have gotten from this training is quite an interesting experience. It has been a hard journey, it has been a lot of ups and downs, but we have kept on pushing nonetheless, and it's been a great journey, to be quite honest. What I expect from Saturday's event is being able to voice out how I feel, being able to voice out my ideas, and letting people digest and understand where I come from and understand what I would like to share with the people.
Allow me to take you on a journey. On this journey, we're met with Wandile, who spends 3 to 4 years in university studying towards a degree that he is passionate about. Or maybe he's not even passionate about it, but he puts his blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that he obtains his degree. 2 months after graduating, Wandile can't find a job. A year later, he's still at home. His family circumstances are still the same. There's no money coming in, and he starts to feel like a burden to his family. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is one faced by close to 8 million South Africans, approximately 40 million Africans, and more than 200 million globally. This is unemployment. Africa boasts of the youngest workforce, yet it is still the poorest continent with the highest unemployment rate. Why is this a problem? Well, let me paint you a picture. Germany has one of the oldest workforces, and because of that, its GDP has sort of grown stagnant these past few years. To counteract this, Germany has embraced the policy of welcoming immigrants of the younger generation worldwide. It is a strategy that pins the importance of the economic or of the youth in driving economic vitality. The rationale is clear. It is that the energy, innovation, and productivity of the youth will contribute significantly to the country's GDP. So, if this is the case, that Africa has the youngest workforce, then by all accounts, Africa should be a global economic powerhouse. But it isn't. Why is that? Well, I'd like to point unemployment as being one of the many reasons why. Firstly, we live in a time where we're faced with the highest suicide rates we've ever seen in history. And there's no denying that unemployment is part of the reason. When you cannot provide for your family and your only hope is to stand by the robots and ask people for spare change, only for them to roll up their windows and act as if they don't see you. When your life has been degraded to a point where you don't even know where your next meal will come from, you have no other choice but to end this. Secondly, unemployment leads to mental issues. A study done by the Lancet Psychiatry shows the relationship between unemployment and mental well-being. This study reveals that the financial implications associated with being unemployed lead to depression, anxiety, and other mental issues. Lastly, unemployment leads to high crime rates. We live in a time where we can no longer go to the nearest shops or even malls with phones in our pockets because we might get robbed. As soon as the sun sets, women need to rush back home in fear of getting raped. Now, I don't know about you, but this is not the South Africa that I imagine. So what is the solution? Let me introduce you to 2 remarkable men. The first being Spusiso Ngwenya, the founder of Skinny Spoo Socks. He started a sock business in university. Yes, you heard me right. A sock business. Something so simple and mundane, yet everyone needs it. You won't wear your shoes without them. And let's be honest, no one really walks barefooted anymore, so we all need socks. Spusiso has always had a passion for fashion. He studied the latest trends and frequented fashion events in and around his university. Through that, he was able to locate a gap in the market. He noticed that not much emphasis was put on the sock as a fashion item. So he said to himself, I'm going to fill this gap. And he did. At just 21 years of age, not seems was a split second, he went from having a few hundred rands in his account to R1 million overnight. In 2015, his socks were retailing all over Markham stores nationwide. He partnered with the biggest male clothing distributor. Another imaginative man I would like to introduce you to is Stephen Mpake. As a young boy from a family of 6 living in the dusty streets of Tembisa, he always imagined himself owning a business empire. But he knew he'd have to start small. So he started selling snacks in the trains. Through that, he was able to find a job as a sweeper in a local manufacturing company, where he was elevated within 3 years to a managerial position. From that, he was able to find a need in the alcohol suppliers, and he started delivering goods and becoming a distributor for them in his part-time. Slowly but surely, his dream of owning a business empire would come to life. After just a few years, he saw himself owning distribution centers across the town. Now, this man, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, is my father. Mom, don't be jealous. I promise I still love you too. The solution to unemployment, as I pose it, ladies and gentlemen, is your imagination. We are all sitting on an idea that could potentially set us up for life. But it will never happen unless we take the first step, which is to believe in your idea and actively work towards implementing it. It is no longer enough for us to just study towards a degree and hope that we get a job. With inflation so high, even if you were to get that job, the income received wouldn't be enough. Now, I am an entrepreneur by heart, and my advice may kind of seem a little biased. I do also understand that not everyone wants to start a business. However, in this current economic climate, it seems to be our only saving grace. And what better way to do it than in a way that aligns with your passions? There's an issue of young Black South Africans who cannot envision a better future for themselves due to the circumstances that they find themselves in. And because they cannot envision it, they cannot see it. Because they cannot see it, they cannot achieve it. Therefore, we need to change the ability of how they see themselves by developing their imagination from a young age. I propose we do this by implementing the 3 following things. Firstly, let's have radio talk shows showcasing the youth making strides in their entrepreneurial journeys, where we hear stories of the likes of Tepiso Malema, who is the founder of Gamers Territory, creating Africa's biggest gaming platform, or Setu Nzimande, the co-founder of a tech startup called Cedar Tech, and is also starting an entrepreneurial movement called Something for the Dreamers. Secondly, let's have YouTube channels, podcasts, connecting the youth to people in the industry so that they may be exposed to new professions, new industries, and overall a new world. Lastly, let's take these business ideas that we get to institutions that will help conceptualize our ideas into commercially viable businesses. Institutions such as the NYDA or the Innovation Hub. This is how we will elevate Africa. Now, I do want to say that this is quite a humbling experience to stand in front of so many people. And I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you take from you so many ideas and you implement the things that I have said today. Because this is how we can change Africa, one step at a time, implementing ideas from the youth, and that is how we will have a better South Africa. Thank you.
Well done to Pabalo Mpake. And that is it. That brings an end to the public speaking competition. Can we give all of them a round of applause? I'm going to ask my team if you can ask them to come in and sit now that they can breathe properly. It's not easy standing up here. Judges, before you go, I just want to remind the audience, because what normally happens after every competition is people walk away going, what were the judges thinking? How did they miss this or how did they miss that? How come that person and this person? So let's go through the judging criteria together so that you as well become judges and you as well can rank the speakers. So it starts off with oral introduction. Did the introduction captivate you? Were you interested in listening to what they had to say? The body of the speech, and this is very important. This wasn't a motivational speech. This was a factual speech. Thus, there needed to be some research that was done into the speech. There needed to be some facts and figures, because as we know, it's easy to speak like this, but for me to be able to say 15% or 12% or 2,500 is a little bit easier to remember. So the body of speech needs to be structured in a way where there was a clear problem, a researched problem, and a clear solution, a researched solution. Then voice projection. If everyone at the back could hear every speaker, could you? Yes. Great. Wonderful. So voice projection, tick for everyone over there. Then creativity, how did they hold your audience? Did they interact with you? How did they use their movement? Was it sporadic, random, back and forth? Or was it intentional when they were taking you on a journey? That's what we talk about with creativity. And then, of course, the overall impression of the speech. Did it captivate you from beginning to end? And is it something that you would like to listen to? Again, judges, with that being said, I'd like to ask if you could please take a step outside as you do your final counting of the points. I'm going to take out 30 seconds, but don't worry, it's not the 30 seconds you know, it's public speaking 30 seconds. It's even scarier. All right, so this is going to be, I'm not going to force anyone to do this, but I know that there's some people here who have been dying to speak, and this is your opportunity to do it. So how this game works is you pick a card from the 30 seconds box of cards, and you choose one of them. So on my card is Durban, Fauna and Flora, The Rand Show, and Zinedine Zidane. Is that a soccer player? Thank you. So if I were to choose Durban, for instance, I would now do a 30-second to 1 minute speech about, do you want to clap for them whilst they're walking in? Great, I knew they were going to steal my attention. All right, so if I were talking about Durban, I would come up here and talk to you for 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds to 1 minute about Durban. Now that could be anything. I could tell you how sunny Durban is. I could tell you a story of that time when I was in KZN Durban and I had to learn Zulu, because when you're in KwaZulu-Natal, you do as the KwaZulu-Natals do. There's no choice. I can tell you many things about Durban. I can tell you about the beach. I can tell you about the unemployment in Durban. The possibilities are endless. Who's excited? I know everyone's dying to participate. Great. That hand going up, is that you saying you want to go first? No. Love how she looks backwards. Do we have any takers in the audience? Wonderful. Come up, sir. Let's give him a round of applause. You guys are not allowed to participate. You know this. Great. Woo! Also, please, this is a family show.
Okay.
Any card. Pick a card.
Any card.
Any card. Look at your card.
Which side?
Any side. We just give you options. Find a word. Have you found a word?
I found a word.
Do you like the word?
I don't, but it's fine.
You're going to work with it. Do you want a mic?
No, it's okay.
Oh, he's a speaker. Go ahead. Your time starts now.
I believe in being appropriate for the occasion, and so I'm going to do as they do. We're going to talk about the fashion police, is what we're going to do, for some reason. I am not a part of that organization, but I think that if I were to be a part of that organization, I know exactly how I would slot in. My interpretation of fashion is a very simple one. I think that as much as most people believe that the clothes that you put on your back are more for convenience, there are people in the world who don't believe that that is the case. A prime example of that is the fact that women don't have pockets. I don't really understand why that is the case, but if I were to be a part of the fashion police, I would change that immediately. The second is that I think that if you're going to put clothes on, they ought to be a representation of who you are as a person. I think that I like chinos, even though I never went to boys' high, because I'm one of those males that presents and speaks the way that I do, although I'm from where I'm from. So if I was part of the fashion police, those are the two recommendations I'd give you, and that's all I have to say for today.
Takers. Oh, let's go. Let's go. He's got a big red blazer. You know that means he's important. Let's keep giving him a round of applause as he comes downstairs. You're about to take on a whole university. Pick a card, any card. Have a look at it. You can flip it. Happy? Happiness. Mike? No? Yeah? Okay, so.
Cape Town. Oh, Cape Town. A place that looks very close to overseas. Oh, I wish I could go to Cape Town. But my mother says, no, you need to study at Tugs. Why, Mom? Why Tux? Because I want you in my house. You are not staying in res. But why? Cape Town is the city of wonders. However, Cape Town is quite expensive because you get the view all the time. Table Mountain is magnificent. Thank you.
All right, I'm seeing you. Yes? No? Yes? Yes? Please come up on stage. This is another, I'm going to put you on spot. It's a public speaking coach, so you've got to be super tough on her. Okay.
The pressure.
Please pick a card. You can flip it.
Okay.
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 All right.
All right. Do you like the mic?
No.
No one
I'm a
likes the
public
mic.
speaking coach.
Yes.
Okay. If I say congratulations, what do you think? Hey? Pregnancy? Someone said pregnancy? Anyone else? Graduation? Money. How often do you congratulate yourself? How many times when you wake up in the morning, when you decide to do something, you say congratulations? We don't say it often enough. We always bashing ourselves and hurting ourselves, but we are making progress in the world. You are here today. You are here today. You made progress in the world. So I want to say to you, congratulations. I want to say to you, congratulations. And I want to say to myself, congratulations.
Thank you for being here. Who is next? Oh, we've got another high schooler. Let's give it up for him. I know that all the people who have gone are making this look easy. But I promise you it's not. Okay? It's tough. Also, please, I forgot to say, you had to introduce yourselves. I'd love to know who's speaking. I know it's late now, but... Are you ready?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. No, all right. Take your time. You can flip the card. Do you guys have a war cry that you do? We got the spirit? No? Okay. Are you ready? All right.
On a fresh day out, my thirst is quenching. I think Coca-Cola. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Give me freedom, give me power. Well, obviously that's unoriginal, but what I want to tell you today, what I want to tell you now is I'm thirsty for Coca-Cola. There's Sprite, there's Fanta, there's cream soda, but I don't think anything comes closer to Coca-Cola.
All right, speakers, who's feeling lucky? Should we add prizes to this? Come up on stage, Lindo. The judges are deep in conversation. Like, it's very hard. They are going back and forth. And
I'm indecisive.
okay, let's go. Pick a card, any card.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lindo Buhlema, and last year I found myself on this very stage, so very excited to come back as an impromptu speaker. My word was Weight Watchers. So, as you can tell, I love dessert. We live in a world where there is a pursuit of an aesthetic, a perfect body with curves that have curves, and it has also had a major impact on our mental health, which has been a pertinent and important and highlighted issue throughout, I think, all of our speakers' speeches today. So, what happens in a world where social media shows us perfect bodies, Weight Watchers? They are our personal Weight Watchers. regardless of whatever body image that you might want to project of yourself. I urge us today, as our fellow contestants have, as our participants today have, to look into ourselves and project better body images and eat dessert.
Thank you, Lindo. See, that's the thing with speakers. We love speaking, and we'll speak. You had a very interesting card. So there was Miss Universe on there. I definitely would have chosen that one. Woo, would have been cancelled. Then there's the Big Five, Hairspray. You guys you know Hairspray. I don't know this generation. You know Hairspray. And you're wonderful. Okay, right. Have we got anyone else? We're going to do this as long as the judges are out there. This was our one backup plan. We thought they would be done in 3 minutes. First of all, I don't even have a voice. This feels like let's do it. Represent an entire company. Let's talk about dreams. Now, when Yurish spoke, he spoke about how when we were all young, we all had dreams. To be an astronaut, to be a ballerina, to be anything else in the universe. And I look at you today and I see that there is probably 5 teenagers in our midst. Apart from them, is there anyone here who still dreams of being an astronaut? No. Because the teenage dream ends when you stop being a teenager. But I'd love for us to have a teenage dream that extends unto our elderly days, where we can have people such as myself say, I want to be a ballerina, even though I know nothing about it and don't even look like it either. But that is a teenage dream. The dream that you can have where everything is possible and there is nothing beyond your imagination. But let's not stop at being teenagers. Let's dare to dream. Dare to dream big, dare to dream now, and even when your dream doesn't become a reality, make that reality your dream. My word, teenage dream. Thank you. Oh, this is a tough one. Emihle is one of our trained, let me put her on spot, one of our trained voiceover artists. She's recorded for the United Nations, for World Health Fund. You'll hear her voice, it sounds like money. All right, Emihle, let's pick a card, any card.
Okay, I'll go.
Good, you want a mic?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. I'm gonna hold this part as well. Just do this. Sure.
Good day, everyone. Given the peer pressure that has landed me on this stage, I think if I were to try and give an impromptu speech, one of the first few things that comes to mind is to say, a man and his daughter were walking in the forest. But apart from that, I think I'll go with the words, the star, which is the second prompt on this card. So to just start off with, I think I want to say, eat nothing, take water, and go. A lot of the speakers that we've had on the stage, including the impromptu speakers, speak of things like dreams. They speak of just start. They tell us the message that small beginnings are not to be despised. And the word on this card, it just prompts me to talk about eat nothing, take water, and go. Because for myself, that is what propels me every single day to get up and get started. No one in this room is a stranger to the monster that is intimidation, fear, and feeling small. But every day I have to wake up and remind myself to eat nothing, take water, and go. Because when it comes to making recordings for the United Nations, or be it speaking for JAV at the University of Pretoria, introducing people to the marvel that is the Museum of Art that we have on Linwood Road, it takes nothing but grit and trusting, not only in myself and my voice, but in the very fact that the gifts that I have are not for myself, they are to be shared with the world, encouraging other people to believe in themselves. So my parting shot, eat nothing, take water, and go. Thank you.
Oh, we've got a parent. Let's get a round of applause. Woo-hoo. That's Alexa's dad. Speaking runs in the family, does it? All right, sir, please pick a card, any card.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Do you need a mic?
No, thank you.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to embarrass my daughter. It is one of the big pleasures that I get out of life. I'm a director of student affairs at a high school in Johannesburg. And the message I'd like to give our students is, don't play the card that you have been given. On this card, Mars, Daniel. Who's Daniel? The British Open, colonizers. Ozzy Osbourne, Matchbox, Moscow. Ladies and gents, if you want to reach that potential that we've been trying to get into your head every time, is play your own card. Don't take what life has given you and go, well, I've got Daniel on my card, I better be Daniel. Be the best version of yourself that you can, and hopefully you'll be blessed, like my child, with a wonderful parent.
Oh, we love it. I love that he's walking back and saying, we see where you get it from, Alexa. Great, so the judges are going to be walking in any second now, and they are going to give us general feedback but they have the winners, so we do have winners.
We'll be providing first the general feedback, then we'll dive into the individual winners. So, in general, as Alma said before, the things we were looking at, the introduction, voice projection, body language, and creativity, body of your speech, and just overall how the 6 performers did in their individual speeches. We looked at those, and I think we were deliberating for some time regarding the top 3, but we looked at it and deliberated it. The general feedback I can provide is that all 6 of our speakers were really amazing. I mean, we should give them a round of applause. They had interesting topics that made us think, that made us laugh, and made us connect with them. And all I can say is they were really amazing. You can see that they really took the time to incorporate their training and practice every day what they were taught. The feedback I can give is everyone had really good introduction. Most of them we were always in tune throughout their speeches. We were there, we were listening to them. I think in terms of they had good voice projection, and you can see that they took the time out to practice in their rooms or wherever to make sure that they were at least 100% ready for the competition today.
Guys, I think it was a very good competition. I now see why all of you deserve to be in the final. There's no one of you, and even the person who's ranked number 6, they deserved to be here. So for that, thank you very much. And we were sitting with the timekeeper. There was a score. There was a time where you had to take away points if a person goes over 8 minutes. None of you went over 8 minutes, and that's very good, because also a big aspect of speaking in public, don't bore us. Don't speak long. And you did very well. Some of you had issues with certain words, couldn't pronounce them well, but that was just, we could hear what you were trying to say, so it was good. And the one thing I want to say to the organizers is, if this could get to other institutions a little bit quicker, it would greatly help. Because it's not a debate competition, it's a step higher than the debate competition. This is what we need to do. And the topics, I don't know, guys, did you choose your topics or the topics were chosen for you? Because all your topics were good. Things that we're currently battling with, especially as young people, and I learned quite a lot from all of you. Although some of your facts I still have to go and check. I'm not sure. Some of your facts scare me. I'm not sure. But broadly, you did well, guys, and please don't stop public speaking.
Hi everyone. I think generally what we were judging, and for me, having a radio background, was, were you conversational enough? And for me, I think that was number one. Were you speaking to me as your audience member? Were you making eye contact? Were you relaying your conversation as best as you can, or your topic as best as you can? So that was a big one for me, because sometimes we tend to, like we do in radio, put on radio voices, you know? And sometimes we feel, even when we are standing in front of people, we need to sound a certain way so that you can hear me. And a lot of the time, all you really need to do is just conversate. Speak to me. Let me hear you. Let me see that you actually understand what it is that you are talking about. So that was what I was looking for a lot. I think sometimes we do get torn or caught in between the fact that, oh my gosh, there's just so many people here, and you focus on that, and sometimes you drift from the fact that, you know, you have something that you need to present to us. So that was also something that I was looking at. Were you sticking with your topic? Were you still understanding what it is that you were trying to tell us? And how best were you able to relay that information to us as an audience? Also, the examples that you used, were they relatable to the audience that you were presenting them to? Or did you just, you know, go a bit too far off that you were unable to actually just grasp the concept enough? That was something else that I was looking at as well. Overall, you guys were good. Like my fellow judges have said, you guys all deserve to be here. I think you should give yourselves a round of applause. You've done very well. I speak on a daily basis, but standing in front of people is a hard thing, man. Yeah. So you guys did it, and you did it very well. You used the room as well. That's also something I was looking at. Are you using the room? Because we've got people on different corners and different sides of the room. Were you engaging them enough? That was also something I was looking at. So yeah, man, I really do think that y'all have bright futures ahead of you. Congratulations once again. And we hope to see you on big stages, tackling tough topics and making them make sense to us. Congratulations.
Oh my God. This is scary. I don't know how you guys do it. First of all, greetings to everyone. I'm Emmanuel Natinkobo. I'm the TV director. So I started, said hi, they greeted. Very important. And I think, I don't know how, I'm not a public speaking expert, but let's try to engage with our people. It's mode. Let's find creative ways of mode. My feedback is going to be, I'm going to try to go individually, because I think my judges have kind of done an overall judgment. I think you guys are great. I think our future is in a good place. Beautiful, well spoken, well presented. Continue. Practice makes perfect. I'm not going to fall for corruption. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to try to be truthful and not be the virus. My advice would be, like she said, know what you're speaking about. It's easy to tell, especially in the professional world. It's easy to pick up when someone doesn't know what they're talking about. So even if it is not probably factual, but know that it's true, right? You can support it. And another thing, you make a lot of references. What does your reference mean? You're telling me about America and States, which is great. You went to Google and you typed, but how is it relating to us in the room, right? And go back to your topic. Go back to, I'm talking about this, and this is my conclusion to this topic. And I think overall, I think we kind of missed that. Beautiful topic. And I got so excited because I recently sent a pitch document to a channel in this similar realm. And I was really looking forward to it. And I would have really loved if you probably bring it back to us, bring it back to our parents. They probably don't know who Ghost Ruby is, So bring it back to them. How is it affecting them? What is status? Bring it back to that. Bring it back to home. How is it affecting us at home? I know I grew up a lot of, social media. That's what's happening now. We're looking at our neighbor. We're not looking at what's happening here. Beautiful. Are you Greek?
I'm half Greek, half African.
Naxi. How do you say hi in Greek again?
Yasas.
I think it was beautiful. You owned your space. You really owned your space. I would say mind mind projection for performance. That's my note. It's very subjective. I can be wrong. Mind projection for performance, because if you are speaking publicly, speaking to people, you want to relate with them. You don't want to find yourself probably out of character. That's just my note. But brilliant. Took us home with Dad. I think we're also Dad. You really brought it back, and I think making an example of bringing it back to your topic. Stunning. Beautifully spoken. Lovely, guys. Sorry, no time. You owned your space. You told us that, hey, look at me, I'm here. Very creative in the example of COVID and being a virus and being corruption and it being a pandemic. It is a serious pandemic. And you brought it to us, even that they understand how it is a problem and how it is. How far when you're giving that cop that 100 rand, you are enabling, the virus. So I think brilliant, beautiful. I don't know how many of us have iPhones, but yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
All right, with all that beautifulness, around here for photos just now. So we're gonna do this very quickly. We're gonna go straight into the top 3. I think you guys have waited long enough. I've seen you tapping. We're gonna go straight into top 3. So we're gonna do third, second, winner. And we're gonna invite all the 6 on stage for a group photo. Happiness. I haven't even seen the names. This is, okay. Yes, just give me a certificate. All right, can we have a drum roll? Thank you for the drum roll. All right, and in third place, this goes to, drum roll, the beautiful Kaho Metsi. Judge or 2 judges, make the picture look nice. Thank you.
I'm not sure about making it look nice.
No, you're
Just
stand all the judges.
Yeah. There's a picture.
Where's the camera?
Where are we looking?
All right, thank you so much, Kaho. Can you take a step to that corner? Don't sit down yet. And in second place, we have Packet.
Family.
And actually, before we do the trophy, sorry, there is one more award for this individual. So, like I said, we trained them for 1 week, 1 month, 4 weeks, and there's one individual who was the most improved public speaker. And just to give you a little bit about this individual, he entered this competition last year, and I think he stopped in round 1 because he was so nervous. And then he came back this year, and he's in your top 3. And that is Pabalo Mpake. So that is the most improved speaker. Let's give it up. Sorry, one more photo, judges. This is just an encouragement that if you don't do it the first time, try again. Now they always saying, wow, that's amazing. He was so close. All right, and our UP public speaking champion. Can I also ask if the president of the society can join us on stage? Drum roll, please. The 2023 UP public speaking champion is Yurish Naidu. Sorry, it's going to be a big photo. Can you get everyone in? Yeah. Wonderful. Let's get all of our top 6 on stage. That's Alexa, Div Ampaka, and Pitolo Pilani. Yes, you're taking pictures. Everybody, family. All right, and as they take pictures, thank you all for participating. Hope to see you next year. If you think you can do better, good, enter. All right, and that brings this competition to an end. Thank you all.